Hello and welcome to Unacademy. Finally, the day is here. The notification is out for UPSC CSE 2025. So in this session, we'll try to figure out what are the changes, what are the number of vacancies, and over and that, how to fill the form. So this is going to be a one-stop solution for anything related to how to fill the form, what are the contours, what are the differences, and what are the basic regulations. But before we begin, two very important announcements for you. Remember that the Resolve 2025 offer is now live with 55% off with CSE Assure, under which if you don't clear the examination in 2026 with regards to a certain conditions which have been put through, you will get a 1-year extension automatically. Use the code IAS English. This is imperative and very, very important that you use the code IAS English, because then you will be tagged to the English team and you will get mentorship sessions and guidance sessions from us. On 27th of January, Sarmad Sir is starting a polity batch. So you have a very important opportunity to join his course also. So remember, use the code IAS English in order to be tagged to us. Good afternoon to all of you. Remember one more thing, that in Hyderabad, Sarmad Sir, Mukesh Sir and Himabindu ma'am are going to meet you on 25th, which is this Saturday. So I hope that you will use this opportunity to interact with them and understand how to clear this examination the first attempt itself. So two very important announcements, but without further ado, this is a very important moment for anybody who has been preparing for the past 1 year. This is the moment you've been waiting for, and finally it is here. There are two things to be noted here. Automatically you should know this, that the last date of online application is 11th of February. The more quickly you fill it, the more better the chance that you will get the center when you want to give your prelims examination. Do not link it with certain dates or moments. Fill it as quickly as possible. And the most important aspect here is how to fill it. So in this session, we'll try to understand what are the number of vacancies, what is OTR, which is one-time registration, how to fill the form, what are the mistakes which you should avoid, and over and above that, what is the eligibility. Again, emphasizing this point that on 11th February 2025 till 6 p.m. you can fill this form. So please don't do any form of delay. Very important moment if you've been preparing for the past 1 year. Now, looking at the number of vacancies, it has been falling or had been falling from 1200 to 712 in 2021. However, then it picked up, and in 2024 we had 1056 vacancies. This year we have 979 vacancies. Now, as it is, this number is of no importance to you as of right now before you give prelims itself, but the number of vacancies have gone down this year with regards to taking into account the retirements and the what we call as the demand which is coming through the DOPT. But 979 vacancies are now available to up for grabs that ways in this year's CSE 2025. Now, we need to understand how to fill this form. Now, there are 2 to 3 steps which you have to go through, and the steps change according to the fact that have you given this examination previously or if you haven't. Meaning, if this is your first attempt, then OTR is extremely important for you. If this is not your first attempt, you have never registered with the UPSC previously, then it's your first attempt. If you have given this examination previously, your OTR step is already done, but you would have to use the credentials which you pushed into the OTR maybe last year or last to last year. The idea is very simple. OTR is for someone who has never been associated with UPSC, never filled any form whatsoever with UPSC itself, and therefore it becomes a very important mandatory provision. So here I'm going to create a, you can say, disjuncture. If you have filled a form previously, then the OTR step is already done. If you are doing it for the first time, OTR is a mandatory provision now as part of your form filling. You have to go through this process. Only then you will get access to the form itself. Filling the OTR form itself is not filling the form for the examination. It is just a one-time registration process which happens with UPSC so that basic details are captured. The idea is very simple. They take this data and automatically auto-populate the form with regards to basic things. For example, your name, age, date of birth, father's name, mother's name, basic things. So you have to understand one thing. If you've gone through this process, this is already done. If you haven't, then how to reach to OTR. Now, when you open the UPSC website, you will be greeted with this page. You have to scroll down and here you will find Apply Online. When you click on Apply Online, this is the interface you will see, and you will then click on this interface, which is one-time registration OTR for examination of UPSC. Thereafter, it will redirect you to this page. Now, this is the page which is critical for a person who's already done it and who has to do it for the first time. If you have done OTR last year, introduced properly in 2024, though there was a certain provision under 2023 also, but if you've done this last year, you just have to use the email ID and or mobile number or OTR ID which was generated last year, what you filled last year, in order to log in. However, if you have not done this, you have to click here, which is new registration. When you click on new registration, it will take you to a form, but if you've already done it, you will be taken to the dashboard, which I will show you once I will tell you how to fill the OTR. So from this point, there are some people who have done this, some people who have to do this for the first time. So when you click on new registration, you will be taken to this form. Basic details it is going to ask you. Name as per your 10th passing certificate. It will ask you to fill everything twice, and you have to verify it 2 to 3 times. Then it will ask you, have you ever changed your name in the process of after 10th? Have you changed your name in the process of marriage or anything else? Then it will ask you your gender. That too also will be verified. Then your date of birth, father's name, mother's name, everything will be filled up twice so that you don't fill the wrong details here. Once you will fill up this whole form and click on submit, it will take you to this, you can say, portal, and it will say, please verify this information. It will give you your name, have you changed your name, gender, date of birth, father's name, mother's name, what is your category, mobile number, alternative mobile number. Please don't give numbers which you don't use or are with parents or with relatives who don't look at their phone from time to time. Multiple OTPs will be generated. Keep this phone handy. Then your email ID, your class 10th board examination roll number, and 2 security questions. If the detail in this box is totally correct, then you click on I agree. If you see a mistake, if you've done this previously, you don't have to do it again. But if you are doing this for the first time, you have to then, if you see any form of mistake here, you will then go to update and change here. If you have done this and everything is sorted, the name, everything is correct, then you click on I agree. Why am I saying this? Because once you click on I agree, it gets captured, and changing it is a very big hassle. Very, very big hassle. So fill this form up very slowly. There is no hurry whatsoever, but make sure that you check it, cross-check it through a friend, family, mother, father. Someone should actually see this other than you. Click a picture of this screen so that you have proof that what was given in the OTR was correct. Maybe there can be a change or discrepancy later which may emerge. You need a proof for that. But make sure that you cross-verify this 2 to 3 times, because this will never change for any examination, be it UPSC CSE, be it for forest services, be it for any examination you give under UPSC. OTR remains the same. OTR is not filling up the form. It is basically registering with the UPSC so that you don't have to do this every time. And this is done by UPPSC also nowadays. The idea is very simple. This information should not be incorrect. Further, once you're done, you will get this screen which will say one-time registration submitted successfully. Now from this point forward, there's no difference between a student who's already done it in 2021, 22, 23, 24 and a student who's doing it for the first time in 2025. The simple point is these details will not change. Also click the picture of this or take a screenshot because your OTR ID, your email ID and your mobile number does not change in any case whatsoever now. And these are the credentials which will be needed to log in. Now once this is done, close the window, go back to this original website, then go into apply online and you will be again greeted on this platform. This is where the disjuncture is over. Both students come together. A student who has done this previously, be it 2022, 23, 24, and who's doing it for the first time. Now there is no distinction between a student who's doing it for the first time, who's done it previously. This, you will push in your email ID or your mobile number. Most probably use your mobile number. OTP comes more quickly, and then you will click on login. So what I've done till this point is I've told you the first important component. You may have done it previously, which is OTR, or you are doing it for the first time, which is OTR registration filling. Thereafter, you will click on login. If you will be a new candidate, meaning for the first time you're doing this, you will get a chance to put in a password. If you've already done it, it may ask you for the password or may not ask you for the password. It may directly take you to the dashboard. This whole process, if you actually look at it, is to just reach to the dashboard. Once the dashboard is reached, then the process of form filling starts. All of this is pre-form filling. If you are new, please note all of these criteria. Should be 8 characters, should have upper, lower, plus numeric, plus either the different symbols which are provided by UPSC, so you can use these symbols in it. So for example, a very simple type of password would be Unacademy @123. Here I have accounted for uppercase, lowercase, more than 8, numeric and @. Simple point is this OTR step should be skipped by any student who has already done it last year. If you've not done it, now you will reach to the most important page, which is this one. You are now in your dashboard, and when you are in your dashboard, it will say Civil Service Examination 2025. It will say 2025 here. Notice number does not really matter, but there will be a code. Notice date, closing date we already know is 11th February 2025, 6 p.m. And then you will click on this. Click here for part 1. When you will click on this, now the form filling process has started, and a very critical part of your preparation is now in front of you, filling the form with all right details. Now you will say, sir, why did UPSC go through the whole process of OTR? The reason is, as soon as you will click on part 1, it will show you this declaration. You can read the basic instructions. You will click on yes. And now all of this will be auto-populated. Auto-populated means whatever you had pushed into the OTR will automatically come through, which is name, have you changed your name, gender, date of birth, father's name, mother's name, email ID. This is why UPSC is taking this information. It is taking this information so that you can push, you don't need to always write your name and basic details. Basic details have been captured in the OTR itself. Now you are at the first stage, which is stage 1, choosing your optional, your main center, your understanding of how many attempts you've given. I'll show you the whole form, but the idea is very simple. For 2025, this should be automatically pushed in through OTR. Then you will push in your nationality, then your marital status. Do you belong to the PWD category? What is your community, general, whatever reservation you have? And fee remission allowed, most probably for female candidates and SC, ST or PWD, there is no fees whatsoever. But for general candidates and male candidates, there is. Thereafter, select education qualification. It will say graduate. It will say you are, because you're allowed to give the examination when you're in your last year, it will have said you have already appeared or are appearing. This will come through. You can then choose your degree, but remember it will have two options. You are appearing, meaning that you have not crossed your BA, BTech, or you've not done your what we call as graduation. And in certain cases, it will say already appeared. Already appeared means that you've passed the examination. For example, a student in MA first year, MTech first year would have already passed. If you've cleared your graduation and are preparing for 1 year, you have already appeared. So do note, don't get confused here. Then address. This address cannot be changed. Don't give bogus addresses. Give an address on which there will be someone available to take any form of correspondence from the UPSC. Because when you will clear this examination, and you will clear this examination, the appointment letter will go to this address, which will be reconfirmed in DAF 1, DAF 2. So please don't try to push in addresses which are just namesake. Thereafter, once you've done with this, it will ask you, when you click on submit, it will ask you, do you claim age relaxation? Most probably no. Thereafter, now comes the most critical part. It will ask you first this, which is number of attempts made in civil services examination. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for general. Thereafter, relaxations according to OBC, SC, ST, and PWD. Now, what accounts for, or what is an attempt? A very standard question which comes to me is, what is an attempt? Now, filling up the form is not an attempt. Meaning, if you fill up 2025 form, but then don't go and give the examination, then it is not an attempt. So, just if you have previously, in the past 6 years, just filled the form and never went to the center or gave no paper whatsoever, then it is not an attempt. Then you will write 0. Then you will write 0. If you've never, this is your first time, you write 0. Don't write 1, write 0. Now, what is an attempt then? An attempt is you fill up the form, you go to the center, and if you give either of the papers, meaning if your name is signed in the attendance roll in the center itself, it is an attempt. Meaning, for example, I filled the form, I went for the examination, I gave paper 1. Did not go that well. I know I'm not going to clear. So what I do is I don't give CSAT. I come back home. Will this be an attempt? Yes. Because you gave one paper and your name was captured in the attendance roll. Same true for, I think there is nobody who's going to give only CSAT. But the idea is very simple. If you've been to the center, even if you go to the center and come back, that is not an attempt. Only when you enter the examination hall, fill up the attendance form, sign it, give your thumb impression, then it is an attempt. Please note this, never give wrong information here. Don't be over smart. You have given 7 attempts, you're writing 5. UPSC knows everything. It is checking your integrity. Ethics starts here. So please don't forge information. Don't give the wrong information here. Please, this is one of the biggest things. You will mess up. You will be debarred from the examination. If you have exhausted your attempts, it's okay. But don't write wrong information. If you're not sure about how many attempts you've given, if you've never given it, 0. If your admit card was generated and you went to the examination hall and gave it either one of the papers, then it is an attempt. Thereafter, it will right now itself ask you 5 to 6 very important indicators related to your mains examination. Meaning, what is going to be CSM means Civil Services Mains Examination. It is not asking you your prelims center. It is asking you your mains center. This city list is actually narrow. It is limited because not the Civil Services Mains Examination does not happen in every city. So please do understand one thing, that if you don't have access to any of these cities directly, choose the metropolitan city or choose the city which is closest to you. For example, if you are in Bangalore and Bangalore is not an option, then you can choose Bangalore. For example, you are in Greater Noida. Greater Noida is not there's no center, there's no option of Greater Noida. Then you choose Delhi. Same way, choose a center which is maximum 50-60 kilometers away, because you would have to go there and live there for 5 to 6 days when you give your mains examination. Don't take it lightly. This again cannot be changed in any further correspondence with UPSC. This remains what it is. Thereafter, now comes a very interesting question. It is asking you that what is the language in which you will write your GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which means essay, GS paper 1, 2, 3 and 4, which is essay, history, geography, society, polity and IR governance, economy and S&T and ethics. Basically all the GS papers. So essay plus your 4 GS papers. What is the language in which you can write? I get this standard question. In what languages can I write it? You can write it in any of the languages which are indicated here. Most probably you will choose English, but you can also write in the vernacular languages of India. But this will create a very interesting peculiarity. I'll tell you why. Because you can also write your GS paper 1 to 5 in a different language and an optional in a different language. So for example, I chose English here. Then I went to the next step, which is what is my optional. That is why it is asking you optional paper 6 and 7. Optional paper, for example, I choose history. Now the next question is, what is the language in which you want to write the optional exam? And this is where there's a very interesting set of anomalies, or you have to note this. If you chose 1 to 5 as English, then the only option it will show is English. Meaning, if you're writing 1 to 5 in English, then you are writing your optional also in English only. However, what if I chose Dogri? That I am going to write my first to 5th paper, which is essay plus GS papers in Dogri. Then I chose history as my optional. Then I will have 2 options here. Either English or Dogri. Means that I can write my essay plus GS papers 1, 2, 3 and 4 in Dogri, but I can write history optional in English. See, Marathi and English. The idea is very simple. If you are choosing a vernacular language in the first option, in the 4th option you will get 2 options. But if you choose English, then you will only get English. There can be a case in which you chose Hindi here and it shows English, Hindi both. So though you should not complicate your mains so much that you're writing your GS paper 1 to 5 in English, in Hindi, and then you're writing your optional in English. That should not be the case. But I'm showing you this because we as aspirants, we as educators, and generally a lot of students get confused here. They do a lot of mistakes here which cannot be rectified when they give the examination. There is a topper who basically messed up this concept. Shruti Sharma messed up this concept. That is why she had to write the whole examination in Hindi. And this is where you have to understand she lost one chance because of this silly mistake. Very simply, you have to make sure that your CSE center is sorted, main center is sorted. You choose either English or your vernacular language. Then you choose your optional properly. Then you choose your language or optional also correctly, basically corresponding with one another. And then after you will get a question that do you hail from Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland or Sikkim? If you say yes, then this option will not be eligible to you. But if you say no, then you will have the option to give what is called as the compulsory Indian language paper, in which then you can choose from any of these languages which I have shown you here. Most probably you would be choosing Hindi or your vernacular language. This don't mess up. This is a qualifying paper. English and your Indian language paper, this is called paper A, is qualifying. Thereafter, essay onwards, all papers are counted. All papers are counted. So this is one of the most critical areas, and it says no changes allowed. So please don't mess up this step in that regard. Very critical for your preparation. Once you are done with these basic things, which is these 3 to 4 steps, which is auto-populated name, auto-populated, you can say basic details, then your address, then your CSE based examination, your attempts, your optionals and your languages. Thereafter, you will come to this point where it will finally say part 1 completed. When part 1 is completed, you will get multiple notifications. One on your phone, one on your email, that part 1 is completed and your registration ID has been generated. This is basically part 1 completed. Still the form is not complete. You have only completed 2 mandatory steps, OTR plus part 1. In part 1, they've captured basic details. Now comes part 2. Now, how do I go to part 2? I'm again going to close this, what we call as a window, and go again to the dashboard. To reach to the dashboard, I may have to log in again. I will log in again, and it will say view part 1 in green, means that you have completed this step. But you see, 3 steps are missing. Fee payment, uploading the photo and signature and photo ID, and thereafter in photo ID, most probably keep it Aadhaar or voter ID standard, and then comes the prelims center selection. A lot of students actually get confused. They think that the center which they have selected there is actually for prelims. No, that is for mains. This is for prelims. Once you are going to complete these 3 steps, then only you will be able to say that I've completed the process of filling up the form. So you will get part 1 registration, which it will show automatically. Then you will give a fee. Please don't go for bank challan. Please try to give it online. UPI is an option there. Just scan it. You should use this option. Don't complicate this part. Thereafter, photo and signature, I'm going to tell you there are multiple rules now with regards to that. And finally, you will select your center. Once you're done with that, you will get one more notification set on your email and your phone that part 2 is completed. The whole process of form completion is over. You will say your form has been submitted successfully, part 1 and part 2 uploaded. Therefore, you will then say that yes, finally I have filled up the form. Now, there are multiple mistakes which you can do in this process. What are those? Filling up part 1, then not filling up part 2. That should not happen. Second, signature and pictures. I'm going to show you what is the rule with regards to that. But signature and picture should not be blurry. Keep these things handy. Don't start to squabble for it once you have opened the form. Good signature, less than 10 KB. Good picture with the rules I'm going to tell you, so that it is handy. Just have to upload. Keep a scanned copy of your Aadhaar, voter ID handy again, has to be uploaded. Don't fill up the wrong number of attempts and cross-check everything. Please show it to someone other than you, because sometimes it happens that we see the information but it may be incorrect, but it seems correct. Also, 11th February is the last date. Now, with regards to the photos, there is now a rule which was introduced in 2024. This was last year introduced. Uploading a photo like this is not allowed. Last year, I got a lot of messages from students, a lot of comments, sir, I've done it. Don't do it. Simple, straightforward. Now your photo has to look something like this. Basically, on the photo, it's not that you should have actually clicked it 10 days before. If you have a picture which is recent, you now need to write your name and also the date on which this photograph was taken. A lot of students said, sir, do I need to get it clicked today? No, now all of you are, you can say, digitally literate enough to do this yourself. You can go into Paint, you can go into any app online, choose the photo, choose a tool through which you can write a text. It says 3/4 of the space should be face, 3/4 should be face, 1/4. So it should not be that your name is coming till here. Somewhere till here, till your chest, it should be there, and your name and the date of the photo. The photo may be 6 months old. Just write the date 2 days before you fill up the form, which is today is 22nd. Write 20th of January 2025. The more further you go, don't make it so obvious by writing the same date on the day. For example, don't write 22nd. Then it seems like you pushed in a picture which was basically old and you just morphed it and added something. This is a basic step or tip I am trying to give you. This photo will remain. This is the photo which is going to be published by UPSC when you top this examination. So it is very, very important that you don't basically mess this step up also. Very important. And please, there are ways to change it, but I don't want you to do it. Be sure, then only fill it up. Be sure, get this sorted first. For anybody who is giving this examination for the first time, get this sorted first. First, keep your signature and SC, ST, OBC certificate scanned in 10 KB, less than 100 KB format. Don't be it 2 GB, 3 GB file. There are certain tools on websites through which you can compress a file, compress the PDF itself. After compression, check if the photo has become blur or the signature has become blur. Keep all of these things sorted. If you can't do it yourself, go to an expert, go to a photo, you can say photo studio, go to a computer's expert, get it sorted. Please don't mess up this golden opportunity for which you have been working for the past 1 year because of these small mistakes. It will only mess up your next 3 to 4 months of preparation. This will always be in back of the mind. The other thing is that OTR cannot be changed ever. For example, you made a mistake in the process of filling up this form. Between 12th and 18th, other than the OTR details, you will be able to change it. But again, why go through this step? There's one more very interesting thing which has been introduced properly this time with regards to UPSC, which is online question paper representation portal. Not important for you right now, but once you have given the examination, in the next 7 days, if you find any question to be problematic, you can challenge it, but we are not in that state right now. But I'm just telling you, there's now a challenging portal which has been created, which is called QP Rep, but not important, but has been explicitly mentioned. Now, what we've discussed till this point is how to fill up the form, what are the steps for OTR, part 1, part 2, how to make that photograph ready, what is the format of that photograph, signature, the file size. Further, please use the online payment. Everybody is using QR codes and UPI. It's not a very big amount. Now, if all of this is sorted and you filled up the form, then comes the preparation part. And for that, we are there. Vis-a-vis, Conquer Prelims is already running. You already know that we are in stage 1. On this exact UPSC YouTube Unacademy English channel, throughout the next 4 months, we are going to run programs which will help you clear this examination. The form filling is the first challenge which you have to face in the next 5 to 6 days. After that, current affairs of Jan to May is being covered as of today. Today, Himabindu ma'am is going to take a session on science and technology. Then, 7th February onwards, just 4 days before, 4 days before the form is going to end, we will have static syllabus discussions through MCQs. In stage 3, which is going to be on specific dates in March, we will have previous year paper analysis and discussion. In stage 4, the most critical, June to April, all current affairs will be covered. And just before your examination, we will have one-shot videos in which we will revise everything. This is your one-stop solution. We have always argued that we are the one-stop solution for anybody who is giving this examination in English medium. And these are the free initiatives which are running to make sure that once you filled up the form, there is only the preparation which is the problem, for which we are there as a solution. Now, this was the most important discussion I needed to have with you. I will again repeat, don't mess up the photograph, and you have the following mistakes which you have to avoid. Now, for the students who may not know the eligibility, the following provisions are there for eligibility. Specifically, the age eligibility is very, very important. There are nationality, you can say eligibility criteria, which most of you will meet. There's no problem with regards to that. Age limit is important. A candidate must have attained the age of 21 and must not have attained the age of 32 as of 1st August. Remember, UPSC calculates your age according to 1st August 2025. There was a lot of controversy over this, but 1st August is basically the date on which you should be, or on 2nd August, you should be 21 and should not be 32. So the candidate must have been born not earlier than 2nd August 1993 and not later than 1st August 2004. This is very clearly mentioned, should not be a problem. There are further age relaxations for SC/ST candidates and PWD and OBC candidates. 3 years, 5 years for SC/ST, 3 years for OBC. If you are creamy layer, you will write general itself. You will not write OBC. If you are OBC creamy layer, you will write your eligibility as general only, or there is also an option of OBC creamy layer, but UPSC plays with that concept. If you are creamy layer OBC, you don't have to mention then that you're OBC, then you're basically a general candidate. But if there's an option for OBC creamy layer, you can also choose that. Thereafter, minimum educational qualification should be a graduate under the Section 3 of UGC Act 1956. Further, number of attempts is important. General candidate 6. Thereafter, relaxations for different you can say categories. SC/ST unlimited attempts, OBC 9, and PWD under certain categories 9. Again, you should read these sections very closely if you already are belonging to these categories. On this note, I will say all the best. We are here with Conquer Prelims for you. Use the code IS English if you're taking any form of subscription with us. That will help you be tagged to us. It is a very important step of using that code. Remember that the first hurdle is filling this form up properly. Once it is done, then you are ready to crack this examination in your first attempt or whatever attempt it is. Remember that we are there with current affairs, static and previous year questions. You just have to come back to this channel. You will get notifications. Just subscribe to this channel. Click on the bell notification. If you find this session itself useful, do share it with your friends so that they don't do the same mistakes. You can watch this video properly, and more than that, do like, share and subscribe to this channel and to this video. Thank you. Take care and bye-bye.